Hi folks, it's good to be with you. Love to everybody out there. We're looking at the life of William Carey. Here's the biography. And you can get me on Facebook and Twitter. You can also get me on my website, jasonburnspreacher.com. You can also get me on Amazon if you want to look for my books. There's books on Islam, there's books on Christianity, there's books on all sorts of topics. I want to look at William Carey and his confrontation with Hinduism, and ask some questions and thoughts about this. We read, this is what William Carey says. We saw a number of people assembled on the side of the river. I asked for what they meant, and they told me to burn the body of a dead man. I inquired if his wife would die with him, and they answered yes, and pointed to her. She was standing by the pile of large billets of wood, on the top of which lay her husband's dead body. Her nearest relative stood by her, and near her was a basket of sweetmeats. I asked if this was her choice, or if she were brought to it by any improper influence. The answer that it was perfectly voluntary. I talked till reasoning was of no use, and then began to exclaim with all my might against what they were doing, telling them it was shocking murder. They told me it was a great act of holiness, and added in a very surely manner that, if I did not like it to see it, I might go further off and desire me to do so. I said I would not go, that I was determined to stay and see the murder against which I should certainly bear witness at the tribunal of God. I exhorted the widow not to throw away her life, to fear nothing, for no evil would follow her refusal to be burned, but in the most calm manner she mounted the pile and danced on it, with her hands extended, as if in the utmost tranquillity of spirit. Previous to this, the relative whose office it was to set fire to the pile led her 6 times round, thrice at a time. And as she went round, she scattered the sweetmeats amongst the people, who ate them as a very holy thing. This being ended, she lay down beside the corpse and put one arm under its neck and the other over it. Then quantity of dry cocoa leaves and other substances were heaped over them to a considerable height, and then ghee was poured on the top. 2 bamboos were then put over them and held fast down, and fire put onto the pile, which immediately blazed very fiercely owing to the dry and combustible materials of which it was composed. No sooner was the fire kindled than all the people set up a great shout of joy, invoking Siva. It was impossible to have heard the woman had she groaned or even cried aloud on account of the shoutings of the people, and again it was impossible for her to stir or struggle by reason of the bamboos held down on her like the levers of a press. We made much objection to the use of these, insisting that it was under force to prevent her getting up when the fire burned, but they declared it was only to keep the fire from falling down. We could not bear to see more, and left them, exclaiming loudly again the murder, and filled with horror at what we had seen. Carey's spirit was in anguish in that flame. His brain burned with her body, and he vowed, like Lincoln later concerning the auction of slave women, to hit this accursed thing hard if God should spare him. Such evil ignorance of God made him sigh for more helpers. His voice seemed mocked in India's wilderness, but a great solace was to be his following, a surprise and a door of hope in his valley of anchor. It came with a fairly brief letter. Edward Hall, Halifax, October 1798. Dear Mr. Carey, I know not whether not will remember a young man, a printer, walking with you from Ripon's Chapel one Sunday, and conversing with you on your journey to India. But that person is coming to see you, and writes this letter. His services were accepted by the Society on the 16th. It was a happy meeting. The missionary spirit was all alive. Pierce set the whole meeting in a flame. Had missionaries been needed, we might have had a cargo immediately. Sometimes in the spring I hope to embark with others It is my heart to live and die with you, to spend and be spent with you. I trust I shall have your prayers for a safe journey to you, and be refreshed by your presence. May God make me faithful unto death, giving me patience, fortitude, zeal for the great undertaking. Yours affectionately, W. Ward. So what do we learn there? Well, there was evil practices going on in India. One was killing of the wives when the husband died, burning them. And Carey was willing to confront this. So we learned that in cultures there might be evil things in a nation that as missionaries we might have to confront and be willing to confront them. Think of St. Patrick in Ireland. There was a lot of idol worship, and he confronted that idol worship head on. So what idols are in the nation that you're stationed as a missionary, and are you willing to attack those idols and slay them for the glory of God? Secondly, that we can't do missionary work alone, that God sent other missionaries to help William Carey. William Carey was very, very much struggling, and yet God was to comfort him by the coming of other missionaries. And I think of Titus. Titus was often sent by Paul, and he refreshed Paul and he refreshed other people. So pray that God, as a missionary, would send you supporters and helpers on the mission field itself, wherever you are, to support you and encourage you, because we all need that encouragement. God bless you.